And live in 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Michael Kalaf, author of A Very Broken System, coming into you as promised. Today, we're on the Dezi Freeman conspiracy, and there's only one conspiracy in all this, and I've actually, to prevent myself from going into like a angry at the thought of it all rant, I've actually written it. So excuse me if I'm not looking straight at you. I'm going to read it off the and basically let's go. Welcome, guys. I'm Michael Kalaf, author of A Very Broken System and junior software developer. Currently looking for work. Hint, hint. Volunteer, intern. Hello. Anyhow, I've had a number of people reach out to me surrounding conspiracies, surrounding the horrible incident that is now known as the Desi Freeman incident, where two brave frontline police officers lost their lives. Literally, it's horrible. Hang on, stay on track. Firstly, a big sing out to all the police officers. This is not to be taken as a dig at the many, many wonderful, brave police officers the state of Victoria and Australia has, and that's 100%. That is a given. They have a horrible job to do, made harder by the likes of horrible, horrible people in higher offices like Daniel Andrews and most recently Jacinta Allen. It's sickening. Anyway, that is first and foremost. In fact, the topics I'm covering in this podcast covers, although they may cover police and even police corruption, and more importantly, the entire mismanagement of all things Victorian state government, its entire law and order system. The fact is, those who are most affected in a negative way are the bravest of the brave, the frontline officers. And that's the truth. That is the truth. They get thrown under the bus and then or mismanaged or both, but most importantly, or most obviously, they get used as the likes of Daniel Andrews pawns, who wields them to do his political maneuvers. It's very, very apparent of late. And that then, in effect, throws them under the bus, gives them the bad name, makes them pick up the pieces. How disgusting. It's not a... Police are there to enforce law, not play politics. Let's get that clear. Anyhow, so it is them who have been used in the most disgusting, hang on, I'm going to repeat myself, the most disgusting of disgusting ways by this present Victorian state government. Literally, most notably, Daniel Andrews and obviously Jacinta Allen. Daniel Andrews clearly more interested in his $100 million foreign business deals than any single member of the Victorian public. He's more concerned about his little urn over there with Kim Jong Un and Xi and Putin and the guy from Iran. I mean, seriously, he's there like, like beaming like a Cheshire cat. Could you imagine if one of those like dictators who own entire countries said, "Hey Dan, hey, give us the secrets to the sub. Here's a bill. Here's a billion, right? You can have a billion, and this island here." Can you see the likes of Daniel Andrews like not dropping the dime? Can you? Of course, he's selling us out already. Anyway, that said, and that's the police are included in this when you're hearing this, okay? Because we get to the Desi conspiracy part, which is just all tied into the same thing, and that is politicians more interested in protecting themselves than dealing with properly investigating situations, properly exposing mismanagement, properly investigating situations that could have been dealt with as far back as things like the Burke Street Mall incident. And there's no getting away from it. This has cost two more innocent people, most importantly, police officers, their lives. And but you can't remove once you hear what I put out here, you can't remove it. There's no like, oh yeah, but like it's not being used. This weaponized artificial intelligence chatbot technology has not been used to solve one murder, to prevent one drug import, or to do anything constructive with it. All it has done has been used to do people's heads in illegally, and this has led to the innocent people losing their lives. It's very obvious. And people as high as magistrates are well aware of this AI chatbot technology, but they don't want to expose it. Why? It's disgusting. What? Because somebody might get in trouble? Whoa, hello, jeepers. Anyhow, so this is where the conspiracy in the Dezi Freeman lies. Believe me. That said, there's obviously been people questioning what led to Desi Freeman feeling the only option he had was to take the life of a police officer, of two police officers. So we've all seen the images online of this guy like, yeah, I'm going to charge a magistrate and I'm going to, like, relatively comes, he's harmless. Well, why would you bother? Why would you even stop and turn around and try and poke and pick fights, and let alone fill his phone and his caravan, no doubt, with AI bot technology? Why would you do that to somebody? What, you just can't let it grates you that much that this guy's just, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, wait, because now, a lot of you are already aware of this AI bot tech that was being used against me personally because of a combination of me being in a of being a Victorian government department whistleblower when I was asked to be a witness against a GEO employed prison officer, combined with what that morphed into being wrapped up in some silly apology story. Apologized to a person who ended up being a paid drug addicted informant who was literally being paid, being coerced into like airing my conversations to try and get at me and ridicule me and break down my relationships, like any people I knew, to try and turn them against me and whatnot. So apparently this is a trick common in the like UFO, the US military whistleblower. Who knows? Who cares anyway? So, but this is why I know what I know, is all I'm getting at. So apologize to a person who ended up being a paid drug addicted informant who was literally being paid by this same Victorian state government, literally, with the returned custody of the toddler her continued drug addiction had seen removed from her custody. I kid you not. This government, this mismanaged rabble that Daniel Andrews wouldn't allow proper investigations to run their course, was more interested in sweeping everything under the rug, under the carpet, so he could continue with his little, get to the $100 million foreign investment prize at the end of the rainbow. Literally, it's disgusting when you know the truth of this. Just this 10 years of Daniel Andrews. Yeah, okay, it involves judges and it may involve police. That's irrelevant. These are people's lives because this mismanaged imbecile, Daniel Andrews, wants to reap $100 million windfalls. Yeah, who cares? And just the manipulation of people, once you know it, is disgusting. Anyhow, I'll continue with the Desi Freeman conspiracy. And you tell me if we need an investigation, a royal commission into all things, at least all things Victorian system, which is why, on a little side, I don't understand why the Liberal government is not on the front foot. They've known everything I know. I've told them, I've told media, it's not like, I don't understand why the Liberal Party is not on the front foot saying, you know what, Victorian public, we promise to install genuine independent monitoring, policing, and commissions to watch over all government spending, and also there's a genuine independent body watching it. The public would go, thank you. Oh, thank you, Mr. Batten. Okay, thank you. Literally. It's just singing it. Well, why don't they? Instead, we see images of Nick Rees going back and forth from China. I mean, come on, at least, my God. And they don't even discuss it they don't even bring a media person with them these days. They don't even bring a media representative to keep it all above board. They just go over there. Yeah, yeah. Who cares? Technically, we're not doing anything legal. Unethical, yes. Immoral, yeah. But it's technically not illegal. Oh, literally, it's at that stage. But now that it's costing brave, frontline, high ranking detectives who deserved, after serving the community, including Daniel Andrews, so well, deserved to just go, you know what, I'm done now, guys. I've done my duty for this wonderful state. I'm going to kick back up here in the high country and do whatever it is I want to do for the next 20 odd years. He deserved that. But that was taken from him due to the same mismanagement and greed in Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Allen and this government we see across the board. So I don't mean to offend any individual officers or any of the, like, you know, corrupt ones in there rubbing shoulders with the gangsters. I don't really care about you, to be honest. Quite frankly, if you're a corrupt police officer, judge, government, I don't care about you. That's well established. In fact, I despise people with that abuses power like you. Anyhow, so let's go. Now, again, a lot of you may know the technology that is this AI chatbot technology that has swept through disgustingly and has been directly responsible for many horrible crimes. Like basically the people that it has been leveled at, often just meth head, you know, homeless, whatever, meth heads or perhaps Dezi Freemans, end up lashing out violently or doing something crazy like driving down a Burke Street Mall in response to it. Now, you all saw, a lot of you saw, when it was getting done to me, that's what I was doing. I was screaming around like, yeah, F you. Like that's how aggravating it is. You know the source of it. You just can't get, how can you get rid of it? You know, they've got your phones. So it aggravates you. Well, as you see the effects on people who aren't quite as strong as me, leads to innocent lives being lost and police being lost. That's the conspiracy. That's what we need a royal commission in Victoria about. That's what Daniel Andrews needs to answer questions. Jacinta Allen needs to answer questions as why did she all of a sudden just flip the narrative on Shane Patton? What, you think that's acceptable, Jacinta? Just, we'll just get rid of him. You know, it was all his fault. Why not get to the bottom of it? I'll tell you why. They don't get to the bottom of it because it may lose them the election and they're petrified of that. It's disgusting. Or the worse, the buck may stop with them. It is horrible. This poor detective, whether he was using the AI bot or not, it's irrelevant. It should never have been in his decision to do so. It should never have been a culture for him to even have this at his disposal, to be in that position. It's disgusting. And those in the higher offices are well aware that it's up to them to manage a thing called absolute power. Anyhow, now, let's get to why we're here today, because what a lot of you may not already know is that same tactic was rumored to be getting done to Nick Gargasoulis before he drove. So when you saw me aggravated, picture exactly the same thing happening, but now picture the person's reaction to that is to barrel down a Burke Street Mall. Now you see why we need an investigation. Now you see why I have to write this down so I don't get angry. Oh, anyhow, because people who are responsible for it are still out there carrying on with this same technique while detectives don't get to retire. Are you kidding? And Daniel Andrews is over there rubbing shoulders with Kim Jong-un in Victoria, Australia now. Come on, mate. Wait, things get a whole lot worse in Victoria's mismanaged higher offices because we had another horrible life-costing innocent incident. I now, after what I went through, firmly believe this same disgusting, entirely illegal tactic was indirectly the cause of. That being that horrible yellow Porsche driving Pusey who picked himself up some bully boy harassment of his own when he came under the radar of some of those mismanaged officers who thought they would, allegedly of course, install a head doing bot into a smart ass rich kid running around on the meth flipping them the bird. Leading to surprise, surprise, an erratic Pusey screaming around like a maniac as a reaction to having his head done in by a torturous little head do of a bot. And what? Four beautiful, brave, uniformed police officers' lives put at risk because of some cowboy, allegedly, of course, playing with some moron with the powerful artificial intelligence head doer, the chatbot that you are all aware of because a lot of you experienced it, a lot of you know about it and joked about it when you thought it was being done over some weird apology to some sisterhood woman or something that the public in a perfect storm leads to big responsibility on my shoulders because I have to explain it. I have to explain to the people that know this AI bot technology that a lot of you learnt about through the sisterhood apology. Now you know that it was also responsible for some of the worst innocent life, including police officers, crimes in this state. And when you see images of Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Allen, just like Jacinta, like wholesome, like, oh yes, like, gee, we've got to, like, we'll look after you from those neo-Nazis, Victoria. And Daniel Andrews over there beaming like a Cheshire cat, while innocent, brave police officers are getting thrown under the bus, literally to the point where they're getting shot, killed, or run over by a freak incident that wouldn't have been a freak incident had this person just had the people in Jacinta's government just adhered to the laws, just stuck to the rules. That's it. Just that's it. There's a crime. You pinch that, righto, you arrest. None of this like taking it next level, none of this poking people, none of this installing bot technology through weaponized surveillance equipment to try and do the heads in, not even of organized criminals, not even of the myriad of drug dealers who are running rife in the state of Victoria, but just like harmless, like peanuts, really, like just guys sitting out there on a bloody big block in the bush. What harm was he going to do? He's going to like arrest a judge or something. I mean, seriously, come on. Absolutely abhorrent, ridiculously mismanaged imbeciles. So angry. Knowing the truth, so angry. In fact, not dissimilar to what a lot of people were aware of as being my reaction. I've already said this, when I was having it done to me under the guise of my being on the Melbourne Drug Court order under the watchful warrants written by none other than Magistrate Pappas, who happens to be the sister of the Chief Commissioner and Chief, like it's just disgusting. And they're all like, yeah, privy, this is what's happening. And not one of them has come out and said, yes, you know what, yes, we didn't realize it was tied to these, or if anything, I think they've tried to run with, oh, we're just testing a new technology through the Melbourne Drug Court. Nonsense. Utter garbage. Garbage. They knew exactly the malice and games they were playing with people's lives that has directly, indirectly led to the loss of more innocent, decent people, including brave frontline police officers' lives. And if you want to run it through a royal commission or go through it in court and call witnesses, I'm only too happy to do that. Just because bikies and organised criminals have access to a head-doing little AI bot does not mean a police force needs it. What for? What benefit comes from using an AI chatbot? Can't get a conviction with it. What for? Perhaps to get a person to leave one of their drug-addicted paid informants alone, maybe? Turn it up. Just get the informant to stop calling the person. Stop harassing the bloke. Oh, now this tragically leads to this horrible, horrible incident with Dezi Freeman. What on earth led a person who was no real threat to anybody? He wasn't a drug dealer. He wasn't like the drug dealers that were used in conjunction with the police, with magistrate court, Melbourne Drug Court, to get at me, to try and ridicule me, to try and help broadcast my reaction to this AI bot technology. They're not doing it to those people. These people are just using it to bully and harass often homeless, drug addicted people, and torture, literally using it to mess with inmates. Literally, you'd hear inmates at MRC with once this introduction of AI technology. So picture this: they have all the inmates' voice impressions from the prison phone system. They've got a record of it, just like the tax department. So that led to prison officers literally using voice synthesizers, and then the PA and the stenophone, the intercom system, and then just messing with inmates. And you'd hear people, you said this, and punching on with each other. Yeah, you said that. And they were fighting each other. And the screws are turning up just having this like grin, like, got another two to punch on. I kid you not. This is what happened at Metropolitan Remand Centre. There were inmates yelling out, hey, such and such, because they're running these voice. They're sitting there playing games. Hey, look what we can do with voice synthesizer technology. It's a bit more fun than Sudoku. Hey, literally, this happened at Metropolitan Remand Centre. Are you kidding? Okay, well, great, mess with the inmates. But the same culture has now led with a police officer being shot to death. You kidding? And I warned them. I actually said to them 3-4 years ago, this culture of yours is going to lead to the loss of brave frontline police officers because you refuse to manage the situation properly. I couldn't put it on I still can't guarantee that, obviously, the Pusey incident that cost 4 innocent police officers their lives. This one, I reckon any investigation will soon see the same tactic was happening to Dezi Freeman before this horrible, horrible day, completely avoidable day. And all it's going to take is some brave, decent person with morals that works in the system, in the government, or even in the media to say, you know what, 100%, I reckon I'm aware of this technology. I'm aware of it being used. I've heard these rumors, and to oust it once and for all. But it takes brave people. It doesn't take cowards who would rather, it's disgusting. And if you know about it and you're keeping it to yourself, you are no better than the people who are harboring Dezi Freeman. And that's a fact, a cold, hard fact. Now, this tragically leads to this horrible, horrible incident with Dezi Freeman. What on earth led a person who was no real threat to anybody, when you have organised criminals, I've said all this now, literally running rife in Victoria, that some sovereign citizen could have easily just been left alone out there in the bush without affecting anybody? What turned this guy into thinking his only option was to kill police officers? What did that to him? Literally. What turned him from wanting to get on the front foot and charge police officers and charge magistrates and being confident to being a paranoid wreck that led to him being that concerned when police officers came to his place? He thought his only option is to lash out with violence. What happened? I know exactly what happened. I've had it done to me. Anyway, what was making him increasingly erratic? Now, clearly is the time that Victoria needs that all-encompassing OPI investigation to go through a few things and remove the rot once and for all, mostly to ensure that this horrible, horrible little AI technology is removed from anywhere near Victoria's police arsenal, and especially removed from Victoria's prison system. That's the fact. I'll say it again. If you are working for the Victorian system, the government, drug court, prisons, the police, and you are aware of this AI chatbot technology that has been used not rumored to, has been used from everywhere, from places like the homicide squad to the Melbourne drug court order, in the most horrible of horrible ways, to the prison system. If you're aware of that, and now you know that it is more than likely responsible not only for those 4 brave police officers, not only the Burke Street Mall incident, but more than likely these 2 very brave police officers from the Dezi Freeman incident, and you don't so much as own it and say it's true, this AI bot technology has been getting used, I heard this, or da 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 da, you are just as bad as the people who are rumored to be harboring Desi Freeman. And that is a fact.